You're watching the Weiss channel. Det. Remember how 3 times a plus b was 3a plus 3b? And 3 times a plus 7 is 3a plus 21? And n times n plus 1 is n to the second plus 1n, or n to the second plus n, right? That's called distributing, right? Or multiplying. Well, we're going to go backwards, and backwards is called factor. Okay. So now we're going to take 3a plus 3b, and we're going to say, what's common to both terms? Well, there's a 3 common to both terms, so I cross it out. Cross out the 3, and I write down the 3. And in parentheses, what's not crossed out? A plus b, right? So in this problem, 3 times a plus b was the question. And this time it's the answer. Okay, we're going backwards. 3 times a plus 21. Isn't that 3 times a plus 3 times 7? What's common? The 3. Write it down. What's left? A plus 7 is not crossed out. That's what goes in parentheses. When you're able to do this without this second step, you can skip this step and go right from here to the answer if you want. Okay. 3x squared plus 21x, that's 3 times x plus 3 times 7 times x. What's common? 3 and the x. What's left? X plus 7. There you go. XA plus XB. What's common? X, right? Cross it out. Write down X, and what's left? A plus B. 5x to the third plus 3x squared plus 2x. What's common? 1x, right? So I'm going to cross out 1x. I have 5xxx plus 3xx plus 2x. Only 1x is common. I cross it out from each term. Write it down. What's not crossed out? 5x squared plus 3x plus 2. That's called factoring. So here, x to the third plus x squared plus x. Would you agree that that's xxx plus xx plus x? But x is the same as 1x, right? So if there's 1x that's common, when I cross out this 1x, right, does it make sense that there's a 1 left, right? So I'm left, I take out an x, I'm left with x squared plus x plus 1. This is the most challenging concept for people in this one, okay? Make sure you put the 1 there. It's like a placeholder for that spot. Because if I were to put 0 and I wanted to distribute x, x times x squared would be x to the third. X times x would be x squared. But x times 0 would be 0. I need to make x. So that's what x times 1 does. Makes that x. How about 2x to the fifth plus 6x to the fourth plus 8x to the third? Writing it out, you have 2xxxxx plus 2 times 3 xxxx plus 2 times 4 xxx. What's common? A 2 and 3 x's, right? After you cross out the 2 and 3 x's, you write it down, 2x to the third. What's left? 2 x's, x to the second, plus 3 and 1x, plus 4. Here's the same problem as this one, but in this you have 2, then 6, then 8. What happens if you have 8, then 6, then 2? Let's take a look. Here, right, you have 2 times 4, xxxxx, 2 times 3, xxxx, and 2, xxx. What's common? Again, it's 2x to the third is common. Take out 2x to the third. What's left? 4x squared plus 3x plus 1. When you cross everything out, if everything in a term is common, you have to leave the 1, not 0, okay? How about this? What's common in 16x to the second plus 8x plus 4? Would you agree that 4 is common? If I take out 4, what's left here? 4 times 4 is 16, right? 4 times 2 makes 8. And 4 times 1 makes 4. That's called factoring. What's common here? 3, right? If I take out 3, what's left here? 9. If I take out 3, what's left here? 5. If I take out 3, what's left? 1, right? Over here, what number goes into both 14 and 49? 7. If I have y squared here and y to the 4th here, isn't y squared common, right? If I have z to the 4th here and z to the 7th here, isn't z to the 4th common? Okay. So what am I left with? I took out 7, I'm left with negative 2. I took out y to the squared, I took out z to the 4th, so I'm just left with the negative 2. I took out 7, I'm left with 7, because 7 times 7 is 49. I didn't take out any x's, so the x stays put. I took out y to the second, so from y to the 4th, I'm left with y to the second. I took out z to the 4th, so I'm left with z to the 3rd. Done. Over here, I take out 12, because 12 goes into 12, and 12 goes into 48. In fact, I'm going to take out a negative 12, because they're both negative. X to the second is common. 1y is common. Z to the second is common. So really, I'm taking out everything here, right? Negative 12, x to the second, y, z to the second. I take all of that out. That's common. So I'm left with 1, right? If I take out a minus here, I'm left with a plus, right? 12 times 4 is 48. I took out 2 x's, I'm left with 2 x's. I took out 1 y, I'm left with 2 y's. I took out 2 z's, I'm left with 1 z. And there you go. You've been watching the Weiss channel.